You know, every now and then a relationship hits the public stage and everybody thinks, how on earth did that happen? As an astrologer, of course, I go rushing for my charts. So everybody's talking about this shock romance between James and Mariah Carey. And what's so shocking about it is that actually everybody thought that he was in a relationship with supermodel Miranda Kerr. I think it was one of those situations where they kept it under wraps. They had a lot of really good connections, and of course you never know what's going to happen in the future, but I think it's interesting that both Miranda and Mariah are both Aries people. So James obviously likes that kind of fiery, outgoing personality that is an Aries. And I look at his relationship with Mariah and I can see that there are some very strong connections there with his axis of destiny, which is what we look at when we look at relationships. And it seems like an odd combination because James is actually a Virgo. So Virgo is an earth sign. It's a very conservative sign, shall we say. And Mariah is, of course, a very outgoing Aries person who is, you know, known to lead. But she's also at a stage in her life where she's looking for a little bit more security. And of course, Mariah's been married a couple of times before, to Tommy Mottola and to Nick Cannon more recently. And of course, James has got 2 marriages behind him as well. So perhaps they've come together with that kind of a connection. When I look at these astrology charts, what's even more surprising is that Mariah has Sun in Aries and Moon in Cancer, which is a very nurturing sign. Miranda has her Sun in Aries and Moon also in Cancer. So it's incredible how similar these 2 women are. So then I put these charts on top of James's charts and I can see why he's wanting to be with both of them really. And I think with Mariah, there's a Neptune-Mars connection that is a very romantic connection, but often in romances, you can get into a situation where it's very goggle-eyed, where you've got this kind of illusion of romance. And this could be one of those celebrity marriages and connections that people wonder how on earth it happens, but the 2 people involved really don't see that there are any issues. I think Miranda Kerr has actually gone into a new phase at the moment, and you never know what's going to happen with any kind of love or relationship during that time. So I'll be looking very closely with both of these situations and seeing where it all happens, because I'm not quite sure, just from looking at the charts, whether or not James is going to end up with Mariah or Miranda, and maybe there's going to be a little bit of both going on behind the scenes. Of course, we'll never know because they're very, very private people, which is, of course, what was very surprising about James wandering around the streets with Mariah when we first found out about this relationship. So Miranda, Mariah, I got confused, I must admit, looking at these charts because there's so many similarities here. But I think what Mariah brings to James's life is that there's a Saturn connection with Venus. And I think that might win out in the end because there's some sort of karmic connection there that brings them together. And even though it seems a little bit crazy to the outside world, they're together for a reason. I know from looking at astrology that people do all kinds of things, and just because they're in a relationship doesn't mean that it has to last. So I'll be watching very closely to see what transpires over the coming months.